The Trump administration science director has come out saying that American tech can, quote, manipulate time and space. That's not an accident. You don't say that as a turn of phrase. That is not a way you describe calling someone on the phone. Something doesn't quite add up as to why he's saying this. And recently, Donald Trump issued a veiled threat to China saying, she's a smart guy, we'll negotiate. Because otherwise we have weapons and no one knows. Don't believe me? Let's play these clips. My friends, I think we have more than enough ancillary evidence to suggest the U.S. has technology that is undisclosed and may meet disclosure. And it lines up with a lot of theories online researchers have, and the media calls them conspiracy theorists. But listen to this from Donald Trump first.
And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. So let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close. So nobody's going to do that, but I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not.
Not even close. And then you have this video. Take a listen to what the Trump administration science director has to say about our technology.
Our passenger planes are slower than they used to be. Our trains crawl compared to those in other parts of the world. Our cars do not fly. Advances have not stopped, but something has gone wrong. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucracies muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity.
What did he mean by that, and why did he say it? My friends have said, Tim, he's simply referring to vehicles. We can leave distance annihilated. He's talking about driving a car, flying a plane, rocket ships. No, I don't think so. Annihilating distance does not mean moving very quickly. And I don't know anybody who's ever expressed themselves in that way. But there are a lot of questions. Maybe you're familiar with the Philadelphia experiment. Maybe you were made aware that there was technology that makes photons appear to travel backward in time already publicly disclosed. Or maybe some of these online researchers are actually correct, and the U.S. government has weapons and technology they have not disclosed. And I think that's the truth. Ashton Forbes covers this quite a bit, referring to the Malaysian, MH370 that went missing, and the theories around these orbs that flew around it. Take a look at this video clip. Is this video real or fake? Orbs circling a plane, and then the plane ceases to exist. Is the video fake? You know what? Occam's razor would suggest that it is. But hold on. Is it within the realm of possibility that that was not faked? It is. Is it within the realm of possibility that we actually do have the means to manipulate time and space? Meaning, could the plane have been teleported? I would lean towards overwhelmingly no. Is it possible these technologies exist? It absolutely is. Look, I'm not a conspiracy kind of guy. If you come to me and say, here is a grandiose explanation for what otherwise, based on the information we have, is mundane, I would go with the mundane because we try to make the least amount of assumptions so that we can come to the correct conclusions. But there is one conclusion I think we can make that is, it's obvious. The U.S. does have technology that they have not disclosed to the public. If you think otherwise, I've got a bridge to sell you. There's no reality where the U.S. is coming out publicly and saying, we've developed directed energy weapons beyond the average comprehension. There's no reality where they come out and say that we can teleport, we can time travel. Nobody would ever admit that unless someone like Donald Trump is trying to issue a threat. Now, me personally, I've had conversations where there's privy to information that I'm not allowed to discuss. Like a friend or a news source, an undisclosed anonymous source might tell me, Tim, I can tell you this about something in politics. don't explain the great details of it, I will get fired, lose my job, but this background information is going to help you out. And I say, okay, if you violate the trust of that individual, then you never get the information again. So as it pertains to technology, I can disclose something right now that I probably shouldn't. Faster than light communications are being worked on right now. And I've got people tweeting at me because I tweeted this the other day. When this disclosure dropped, I tweeted this. Faster than light communications are being developed. What they're using is quantum entanglement. As it was described to me by people who told me not to repeat this. Granted, this was a couple years ago. The idea that's being developed is that through quantum entanglement, they say that you can entangle two particles, and whatever you do to one happens to the other. This means that there are means of conveying information over over infinite spaces, which would be faster than light because it's not actually traveling. Now, there's theories about what entanglement is, and far be it from me to try to explain how quantum entanglement works. One way it was described is that it's possible that when you have a particle and I'm going to use standard scale analogies. You tap on it. It wiggles, right? The other particle wiggles as well. It's not exactly what's going on, but they can see both particles react similarly. When they do, by tracking what is going on with that particle and by tracking what is being done on the other side, you can tell if one or two different things have been done to that particle, which means you now have the means of conveying binary. The theory for this technology to eliminate time and to crush distance would be that if you take two particles and put one in New York and one in Japan, and they're entangled, and if you say tap on it and they both react similarly, and then you say you push down on it. I mean, these are again, these are just random hypotheticals. If you can discern between two distinct actions, you can now convey 1 and 0, the basics, yes and no, binary communications, and you can transport data faster than light. On Earth, nobody cares. Nobody cares because we already have satellites. We already have transmission lines. And although it's not faster than light, it's close to it. I can get on my cell phone and talk to somebody in Japan right now. And with a minimal delay, we're talking in real time. So who cares about quantum, faster than light, entangled communications? People going to Mars. And this is the stuff that people aren't supposed to be talking about. But this is in the press enough to where I feel comfortable saying it was disclosed to me years ago. The technology was being worked on by which we can communicate over vast distances like other planets. Right now, I think the delay is like 20 minutes. When we send light speed signals to other planets, it could be like 20 minutes. And that makes it difficult to communicate, but not impossible. Some argue that the reason Elon Musk wanted to buy Twitter was because it's a great way to communicate between Mars and Earth, putting out messages that can be read at any time and don't need to be relayed instantly over great distances in real time. However, quantum entanglement communications is not I'm saying this, but I'm sure you've already Googled it, and many of you probably already know about this. Entanglement as communication. Some have argued it's impossible, we can't do it. I can tell you this. Prominent people behind the scenes are working on it right now, and they believe they've got it. They believe this. Now, we don't know for sure. But when Trump's administration says we can manipulate time and space, I have questions. We've got this from Live Science from 2022. Quantum time flip makes light move simultaneously forward and backward in time. The time flipped photon can't be used to restage Back to the Future, but it could help us figure out some of the universe's most mysterious phenomenon. I believe I could be wrong about this. Let me Google search this. I'm checking this out. Neutrino message sent through a rock. Time reversal. A single particle revealing new physics. They have been experimenting with sending particles back in time for a long time. And I remember reading about this years ago. Take a look at this. For the first time, physicists have made light appear to move simultaneously forward and backward in time. By splitting a photon or packet of light using a special optical crystal, two independent teams of physicists have achieved what they describe as a quantum time flip, in which a photon exists in both forward and backward time states. The effect results from the convergence of two strange principles of quantum mechanics, the counterintuitive rules that govern the behavior of the very small. The first principle, quantum superposition, enables minuscule particles to exist in many different states, or different versions of themselves at once until they are observed. The second, charge, parity, and time reversal, symmetry, states that any system containing particles will obey the same physical laws even if the particles' charges, coordinates, and movements through time are flipped as through a mirror. By combining these two principles, the physicists produced a photon that appeared to simultaneously travel along and against the arrow of time. They published the results of their twin experiments October 3rd, November 2nd on the preprint server REXIV, meaning the findings have yet to be peer-reviewed. Maybe it's garbled nonsense. Maybe it's all fake. But we also have to consider that when Trump talks about these weapons and new technologies, could it be AI-generated weapons? I want to bring you back to the Philadelphia experiment. It's an alleged event claimed to have been witnessed by an ex-merchant mariner named Carl M. Allen at the U.S. Navy's Philadelphia shipyard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The story surfaced in 1955 when Allen sent a book full of handwritten annotations referring to the experiment to a U.S. Navy research organization and, a little later, a series of letters making further claims to a UFO book writer. Allen's account of the event is widely understood to be a hoax. Maybe it is. But would they tell you if it wasn't? The story is basically that they were trying to, I believe, teleport a ship. He says an experiment aboard the SS Andrew Furuseth, a destroyer escort, was successfully made invisible. Sorry, they were trying to make a ship invisible. But the ship inexplicably teleported to Norfolk, Virginia for several minutes and then appeared in the Philadelphia yard. The ship's crew was supposed to have suffered various side effects, including insanity, intangibility, being frozen. Some people were fused to the ship. Some people were on fire and they couldn't put the fire out. It's almost like they phased into a different reality. It was you could perceive, but not interact with. Seems like a lot of hubbub. Maybe it is. Maybe it was all just nonsense, right? But let's be real. The U.S. government has been advancing technology for a long time, and they're not going to just come out and admit they've developed powerful technologies that can do anything. And what we think we know about the quantum world makes everything seem absolutely insane. So Donald Trump is the kind of guy who can't keep his mouth shut, with all due respect. He says we have weapons no one knows. And the reason why I brought up sources who talk to me about these things is because when they convey to me that we're working on these technologies, I can only say things like, we had a conversation and something is there, because they don't want me to reveal too much. Now, considering it's been several years and much of this has already been posted on the internet, I think it's fair to say I can bring this up. There's also other crazy disclosures. Let me tell you, my friends, we've got sources, okay? I'm not the most important guy in the world, but I've met with people in government. I have met with people in intelligence, and the things they've told me in confidence, maybe they're not supposed to, is crazy. The things the U.S. government has been working on would shock the average person. So I wonder, is it possible that people think we are stagnant and that people feel dejected when it comes to technological advancement because it's being kept under wraps? Could the world withstand the developments that we've encountered? Think about this with 0 point energy. If we really were able to harness a source of free energy, what would that do to the global economy? And many people have argued this, that when it comes to free energy, perpetual motion or otherwise, not that I believe perpetual motion exists, but that perceivably it may, because energy can be extracted from systems which seemingly are imperceptible. That is, it's possible to create a machine that you place outside and it starts to just go and spin forever. And they'd argue that's perpetual motion. It's not. It could simply be that it's absorbing solar energy and utilizing that energy to create motion. But you would not be able to capture that energy effectively, maybe a little bit. It looks like it's perpetual motion, but it's not. Meaning we could perhaps capture quantum energy in ways not yet perceived by the average person nor disclosed by universities or government, and that would give us seemingly infinite energy. Energy conversion, rapid, easy to build. But hold on. If that does destroy the economy, how do we get the machine parts? How do we get the raw materials? There needs to be a machine by which Someone's going to mine the cobalt. Someone's going to design the robots. Someone's going to program the AI. Then we can build these technologies. But if they had the means of producing replicators to make food or free energy, people would demand it, and it could shatter the economy, and we would have no means by which to facilitate the construction of these devices. Let me wrap up by saying one simple thing on this. AI. Once we get to artificial superintelligence, public disclosure, these devices should be able, with a snap of a finger, to be able to outright develop that tech and tell you how to do it. You will say, create the schematic by which anti-gravity could be harnessed, and it will just do it. That's artificial superintelligence. It brute forces the code. It maps the universe faster than we realize. Do you think the current iteration of AI that is publicly available is the same degree of the technology they have in government? I don't buy it for a second. There's trillions of dollars missing off the books. Who knows? Someone in government does. The argument is often that if it did exist, Trump would tell you about it. And maybe he would. Or maybe even Trump would not do that. I don't know. We think the Large Hadron Collider is the pinnacle of technology in exploring the universe and its fundamental particles. But maybe there's more to the story that we don't realize. I certainly think there's a lot more to the story that we don't realize. And I'm going to say this. Maybe this Trump admin was saying we can manipulate time and space because he was trying to talk fancy about transportation. He was saying, how come we've got this tech and our planes are getting slower? Maybe he's saying we annihilate distance as in we've got high-speed trains. We've got rockets. I ain't ever heard somebody talk like that. No. Maybe it's nothing. I think it's fair to say the government has tech we do not know about because they would never disclose it. My friends, classification exists for a reason. I'll leave it there. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so we're going to have Libby fill in for the live show. But I'll try and get as much done as I can this morning. I took ibuprofen to keep me going, and it's not a good thing to do. So I'll wrap it up there. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all soon.